The more you can make it a participatory experience, the more people are going to like it. But then I'm heavy into thank you every other way. I do thank you emails and thank you snail mail. No, I think thank you notes are highly underrated. I'm a big believer in a thank you note. So particularly for referrals. Anytime anybody refers me to somebody else, I promptly write the person who referred me a big fat thank you. Because you know what that's going to do when they get the thank you? They're going to refer me again. They just are. So yes, I love that. Yes.
When I'm in meetings or presenting, I'm dealing with product.
Mm-hmm.
So, what is the best way to keep them sort of engaged?
Let them play with it.
Okay.
Seriously, because again, you'll notice it on morning TV. This makes me crazy. When someone's doing a segment and they don't touch the product, and you'll see it now. And so the host and the guest are left, either the camera person is dealing with shooting them, talking about something that is not on the television screen, or they're shooting something that no one is touching. I'm insane. I'm throwing things at my TV. So no, seriously, I want you to pick it up. I want you to touch it. I want you to talk about what the experience is of if everybody can't touch it, be like, you'd be surprised how light this glass is. And it's incredibly refreshing, and the water's still cold. And, all of these things, you've got to be. But the more you can pass it around and let people play with stuff. I work with the sugar lobby, as you do. And so, there's this whole like high fructose corn syrup, sugar situation. We've seen the war going on TV, right? So they had their sad presentation about HFCS, high fructose corn syrup. And they're like, there's products with 30%. I was like, let's go to the supermarket. So we did, and we got all this stuff with HFCS in it, just all this junk that you think is healthy, if it's just riddled with freaky corn syrup. And we loaded the entire conference room table, and everybody came in, and they started touching it and playing. They're like, but my wife makes me eat this because she says it's healthy. Now we're in a conversation, and everybody's engaged. So yes.
So you're saying that more engaged?
They're so much more engaged with you and then also the thing is, then they're asking about the questions that are pertinent to them. Again, everybody's the hero of their own story. They don't care about your pitch. They care about you making their life better. So if they touch it and then it brings up something that they need to question, whereas if you're just doing your whole yik yik yak, and that's one of the reasons I keep stopping for questions. A, it keeps the audience more alive, but B, if your audience is listening to you and you've said something preposterous or something they find preposterous, they can't pay attention to you anymore until they've asked you a question about it. So again, I'm really comfortable with people challenging me and coming at me and talking at me while I'm speaking. But if you can do it, I like to make things as interactive as possible. Just short of trust games, because everybody hates trust games, right?
They don't care about my pitch.
They care about how it's going to make their life better. Your pitch is only this interesting to them. Mm-hmm. How what you're pitching is going to make their day better is like this interesting. Yeah, if that's the only thing, again, and it's whether you're selling a product or you're selling yourself. How are you going to make, again, it's your egg. It's where what you're selling interacts with their life. So that's how you're going to make their life better.
And as an agency, regardless of what type of agency you are, whether you're advertising, social media, or PR, I think a great challenge is being able to win the trust of the client and overcome their sort of tunnel vision.
Right.
In terms of the messaging that they're trying to put forth.
Yeah.
And I like what you just said about buying all the products and putting them on a table, because I find that I do that a lot with clients. I go to extremes to visualize, to make it visual as I'm speaking to them.
Yeah.
And so do you think that, I find it very frustrating because not every client is open to letting you give them counsel. They expect counsel, but they're really looking to dictate to you.
Absolutely. This is when you need to explain to them, not everybody would be comfortable with this approach, but you're so visionary that I really feel like I can talk to you about this. See, people love to be told they're visionary. Love it.
Where's that thin line between kissing someone's ass?
Yeah.
And
Oh no, you have to give them the because. No, but you have to give them the because. I think I can tell you this because you were the visionary behind X idea. And not everybody would be as willing to go out on a limb as you have been. But no, you have to have done your background research in an extraordinary way. And that's before any meeting. I do an absurd and shocking amount of research on people before I meet with them. And half the time it never comes up, but it informs how I present things. So there was one other question, yes, no, maybe? No, okay. Yes? So, I mean, in terms of the other things that come up day to day, do you have trouble with? You mentioned people on BlackBerrys under the table. One of the other things I speak quite a bit about is the art of interrupting, both how to handle being interrupted and how to interrupt others. Both are fun. So, very often, we have trouble with people interrupting us. And what I like to do there is, so much of how you handle it depends on your tonal quality. And in those moments, what I need you to do, and this is when you're being interrupted, this is when you're giving people news that they might not necessarily want to hear, you want to channel what I call your inner New York restaurant hostess, right? And she's the one who comes over to you and she's like, oh, your table's going to be another half an hour? Right? And she looks so happy about it that you're just like, all right. And you just go into the bar and sit down and mind your own business. So, when I need to interrupt someone else, I'm like, you know what? I'm going to interrupt you. I look really happy. And they're kind of like, and notice the phrasing there is very particular. It's not, may I interrupt you, right? You're not asking permission. It's now happening. I'm going to interrupt you. Fake smile. Your table's going to be another half an hour. And then da-da-da-da, and then just give it back to them at the end. If someone interrupts you, I think what you need to do is, you're staying upbeat. Hang on, I wasn't quite finished. I know what you're going to say is important, but I'd just like to finish my thought. So you acknowledge the deep and profound importance of whatever's about to be land on you, right? And I really want to hear it, but let me just, so that kind of thing. And again, both of those are all going to come down to your tone. Yes?
One of my biggest problems is international travel.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been to Central America, Eastern Europe, China, Malaysia. And when I'm communicating through a translator, there's a 5-minute conversation between the two people going back and forth, and I get a one-word answer when they're translating.
Right.
And as much as I try to say, to pleasantly, interrupt them to, get more to the point or get more information,
right.
I just have had no success.
Well, they're probably talking about where they want to have lunch. I mean, I'm serious. Like half the time, that's 90% of the conversation. Do you want to go down that? I don't know. But I think that you always want to take the onus on yourself and say, I'm sure, that it's, not as much fun to translate everything word for me, but just so that I can be sure that I understand exactly what's happening, because I want to be able to help you as best I can. So, it's all about, you're just that slow-witted American who needs everything spelled out for them, but because I want to be able to help you as best as I can. And that's the same, anytime, a lot of people are worried about someone asking them a question that they don't know the answer to. And I think it's completely okay to say, let me think about that for a second, because I want to be able to be certain to give you the best answer possible. Right? Nobody gets mad because you want to give the best answer possible. So that's your way out of that one. Yes?
Speaking of getting mad, you had mentioned preparing clients for hostile interviews.
Yes.
And one spin that I kind of see to that is, as a company or as a salesperson that's either cold calling a prospect or interviewing with a potential client for a service, How do you deal with someone who's the show me what you got personality, who may have a certain strident tone to their speaking voice, are giving you the third degree, and may be trying to put you on the defensive, whether they're aware of it or they're not?
Right.
And how can you be proactive in addressing that person's concerns while not losing your cool?
Right. I think there are two magic phrases, and this, again, this is going to be in any situation. Tell me more. Tell me more. What I let people run it out. Run out the clock on all the reasons why you think what I'm doing is stupid, and you think I'm stupid, and what I just said is stupid, and you just keep talking. And eventually they stop. So tell me more is very helpful. And my other magic phrase is, let me think about that. It commits you to nothing, but it seems really thoughtful, right? So, but what I get a lot of pushback. Because very often I'm hired to work with someone who does not wish to work with me, and they've been told this is what's going to be happening to them, and then I walk in, and then there's the double whammy. It's a little bit easier now that I'm older, but I started this company 15 years ago, and then it was like, ugh, what's a little blonde girl going to teach me? So then they had to tell me all the reasons why, again, all the other media trainers had been bad, and media training is stupid, and why do they need it, and blah, 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 blah. And I just let them talk, and I'm like, tell me more. Let me think about that. Tell me, blah, 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 blah. And then eventually, okay. And then we get started. But they need to say all the stuff they want to say first. So fine, barf it out all over me. And you just keep an inquiring expression and nod. And you look interested. You have to go to that very therapy place.
Does that apply to a phone conversation as well?
Yeah. I let them run out the clock. Because you think, after people can't hear you until they've told you all the things they need to say, and then they can finally start to let you in a little bit. So, yeah.
The emotions are brought down. They don't hear what you say.
Yeah,
If you don't bring them to neutral,
yeah.
what you say is not going to be heard. You might as well not.
And usually, if they do end up saying things that are incredibly horrible, right after it comes out of their mouth, they realize it, and then they feel a little bit bad. And then they will listen to you because they're trying to make up for having said something completely hideous. It's true. But one of the other things I want people to work with, if someone does say something really hideous to you, very often our instinct, and it's more with women than with men, we tend to like make a joke of it or try and help them out rather than like. So what I really want you to do, but the magic phrase for that one is, I'm not quite sure what you're saying, which forces them to repeat it. And usually they won't repeat it. They'll go like, oh, I was just joking. Or I was just joking is just code for, I'm waiting to see how offended you might be. My other new favorite one is, right, have you ever noticed recently it's a new verbal tic, the nationwide verbal tic, right after people say something incredibly horrible or that they know they should not have said, they'll say blah, 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 blah. I'm just saying. Have you noticed? All the time people are doing it. Like that somehow makes it better. It's replaced my bad is the new thing that everybody's using. I'm just saying. Kids do that. Any other questions about any of these things? Yes, no, maybe? Hostile Q&A. One of the things I like people to know is you never again for the rest of your life, I hope, have a problem or and this is my least favorite word, crisis, right? You just don't have it. It's not done. The White House has a situation room. You also have a situation. So for the rest of your life, you either have a situation or a dilemma, but you never have a crisis or a problem, ever. Because those emails that you get where someone says, crisis, all caps. That doesn't help me, right? That doesn't improve my ability to think clearly. And the other thing is usually, is it as much of a crisis for me as it is for you? I don't think so. So now I just think you're kind of irritating. Or the all caps, urgent. Don't do that. I have a whole list of email headings in the book, the ones I never want to see again. Urgent is one, crisis is one, is for when you get in on Monday. Oh, hello. I wasn't aware you were dictating my Monday morning. I know you're out sick, but I'm out sick. Yes, that's why I'm not answering you. So all of these things, again, we haven't even opened the email and we're angry. So You really have to be super careful with these.
How about the word issue?